Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some Tales from Tech Support. Our first story today comes to us from Speddy23. It's 2 a.m., but this printer must be fixed now. Let's jump right in. This happened to a colleague of mine, hence why it's written partially from a third-person perspective. I used to work for a hospital with an emergency department. The IT department ran 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but had someone on call 24/7. On-call was only there for urgent issues, such as all IT systems being down. In all 24-hour areas, especially the emergency department, there was always more computers and printers than needed. The idea is, if a device broke, there would always be another device that could be used until we resumed normal business hours to fix. Hence, a single PC or printer being broken was never considered urgent. My colleague got a call from an angry doctor at 2 a.m. The color printer in emergency department flight deck is not printing. After some follow-up questions, it was established it was only the single printer not working. All other printers were working, including another color printer about 10 meters away from where the doctor was. He lets the doctor know about the policy of single device issues where there is another available are not considered urgent, to log a ticket, and it will be looked at during regular business hours. The doctor doesn't accept this. Nope, we're very busy. This absolutely must be fixed now. We cannot afford to waste time walking 10 meters to collect our print jobs. This will affect patient safety if this is not resolved now. Usually, we are pretty big on not fixing non-urgent issues after hours as we don't want to set the, well, you did it last time precedence. Because this doctor dropped the patient safety phrase, my colleague took a look at it. The issue ended up being a stuck document in the print queue, so he cleared it out. He let the doctor know the issue was fixed. As he still had the print queue up, he could see what was being printed out that was so critical it would affect patient safety if not fixed now. Recipes, as in cooking recipes. A person in the comment section down below said, "I certainly hope there was a screenshot made to add to the ticket as a reason there was an emergency request made." And OP replied saying, "Not sure, but knowing my colleague, it would have been closed off as something like, issue resolved, patient safety no longer at risk, as I confirmed the doctor successfully printed his recipes." Yeah, all that was happening in this story was the doctor thinking they were way more important than they really were. I hope somebody higher up has to look at the tickets when they're closed out to see what the issues were that needed resolving, because that higher up can take that to the doctor's higher up, and maybe something can be done about it. But I doubt it. Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from Brom9927. Clear 20 gigabytes of disk space, but don't delete anything. Let's jump right in. So a few months ago, I had this call. So a customer called and they had less than 1 gigabyte of hard disk space left on their C drive and requested for some more disk space. I sign into the computer and first recommend the usual. "Okay ma'am, I need you to delete files you will no longer need or move them to the network drives." "I don't want to do that. Can you just do it for me?" "Ma'am, I'm not sure what files you still need. I can recommend some of the larger ones, but it's ultimately up to your discretion." "No then, I don't want to risk deleting anything important." "Okay ma'am, if that's the case, there is some temporary data I can clear. Do you mind if I sign into the computer and do that?" "Okay." Sign into computer and open disk cleanup. I find that I can easily empty the recycle bin or clear the download folder to clear 10 gigabytes. "Okay ma'am, I'm going to clear the data from these 2 folders. Would that be okay?" "No, don't do that. I know what's in those folders and I still might need it." "Okay, I will just clear the internet cache and cookies. It won't be much, but every bit of data helps." "Okay." I start clearing the folder when the customer screams, "Wait, I still want that data. Stop deleting things." "Ma'am, we need to clear up some disk space. You have less than a gigabyte left and you won't be able to download or save any more files. You chose to reject all the solutions I provided. I can't think of a way to free up disk space without deleting or moving something." That last person pushed a button and it freed 20 gigabytes, just do that. Ma'am, I don't think that's possible. Clearly you don't know what you're doing. Put things back to how they were, and I will talk to someone else. Ma'am, the data I deleted was only unneeded temp data, and there's no way to restore it. Customer hangs up. I report this to my supervisor, who thought the customer was crazy. I think in a case like this, it might be better to declare than ask. Like, I'm going to clear your recycle bin, and I'm going to remove some of your temporary files. This will have absolutely no effect on your saved files on the computer. Unless, of course, you're dumb enough to store things in the recycle bin, like a previous story that we had on the KCC channel. Sadly, though, sometimes it's the storage space between the ears of the end user that really needs the formatting. This next story comes to us from Oathchunk. Please close this ticket, or that time karma worked in our favor. Let's jump right in. Hello, fellow IT slaves. I have a nice little story of karmic justice to help brighten an otherwise miserable Monday. On to the story. We have a new end user that was hired on about 6 weeks ago, and it immediately became clear she was one of those users. I know you have one too. You're probably thinking about them right now. Every day is a new issue, refuses to actually troubleshoot anything, berates and belittles whenever able, and so on. A general pain in the butt, and the call none of us on the help desk want to be stuck with. Well, today was my lucky day. Huzzah! Her computers are completely dead and won't work at all. Yes, computers, as in more than one. Because she has a laptop and 2 desktops. Right. As usual, getting any real information other than not working is worse than pulling teeth. However, after about 20 minutes, I'm able to piece enough together that it seems like her charger died, which means her laptop's battery drained after being used all morning, as one would expect. Okay, that's an actual issue for a change. Since I'm just a lowly help desk grunt, I can't actually do anything, so that means a ticket needs to go to the T2 team that can issue new and replacement equipment. That went over about as well as a tank over a rope bridge? Not at all. Well, how long is that gonna take? Considering that 75% of us work remote, and we happen to both be on the opposite side of the US as the main office, not to mention that I just work the help desk and don't get told crap about equipment inventory, I don't really know. But that's just my laptop, why don't my desktops work? Because those are just monitors, ma'am. They just display whatever the laptop tells them to. This is ridiculous. I'm not getting off the phone until you get me someone that will actually help me. Sure thing, let me transfer you over to my manager. Manager talks to her for 20 more minutes, agrees that she is just knucking futs, and kindly reaches out to the T2 team for someone to help this poor woman as soon as possible, as well as this poor woman's manager. Well, she got her help all right. A couple hours later, as my day is drawing to a close, an interesting termination ticket catches my eye. It's for our dear pain in the butt. Effective immediately. Not even at the end of the business day. Remove all access right the hell now, which I gladly did. The wheel of karma turned in favor of the help desk for once, and I'll raise a glass to that. OP added a really quick edit at the end of this one. It says, apparently my ninja edit didn't save, but I missed my favorite part. On the original ticket that I had escalated, the user's manager left us a nice little note. And the inspiration for the title of this post, please close this ticket as this person is no longer with the company. Thank you for all your help. This one kind of reminds me of a Mark Twain quote. It goes something like, I don't hate anyone, but I have read some obituaries with great satisfaction. I thought of something else on this one too though. If the end user had absolutely nothing coming up on those 2 extra monitors, and the power supply for their laptop wouldn't work, what are the chances they just flip the switch on a surge protector by accident, and this could all be solved just by turning it back on? This next story comes to us from Code Booker. Doesn't everyone love getting cursed out when doing your job? Well, here's my tale. Let's jump right in. I'm going to start by setting a background for this tale from tech support. This took place in the summer of 2019 at a private club. Think along the lines of a yacht or golf type club. the CEO called my office and the conversation went pretty much like this. "Hi, this is Codebooker from Small Computer Company Inc. How may I be of assistance to you today?" "Hi Codebooker, this is CEO of Local Fancy Club. We're having problems with our door card system." "Okay, what kind of problems?" "The CPU it is running on stopped working, and without that, we are having to manually buzz in every member who comes to the club. Some of the members are complaining about it, so we'd really like it fixed pronto." "Okay, let me know the address and I'll head over." As I discussed what would be involved and what might be needed, and was basically told to do whatever I think is best to get it working and reliable for years to come. So I get the address, head to the club, and the CEO lets me in and shows me to the room where the door access system is. He then thanks me for coming so quickly and leaves to attend another matter. I started diagnosing the problem and ended up realizing it was this old motherboard. Now, this computer is from the early 90s. I'm talking beige galore, and its CPU was on a card, not in a socket on the board like we see on modern systems. I ascertained from the bar manager that it ran Windows 95. She was the one responsible for adding or removing card credentials of members when it needed doing, so she was familiar with the system. I decided to pull the hard drive, and I took it back to my office to begin the process of fixing and subsequently bulletproofing their system. I cloned the hard drive into a virtual drive file, and using a Dell Optiplex that had a serial port on it for connection to the wall unit of the door system, I installed Windows 10 LTSCN, then VMware Workstation Pro. Used the virtual drive in VMware to boot this Windows 95 instance up. After 30 minutes of Windows 95 installing the VMware drivers and me logging in and making sure the software was there and worked, I made a copy on a rugged backup drive and called it quits for the evening. The next morning, I took the system over to the club before they opened, so I could install and test it before members arrived. The bar manager from before buzzed me in, then unlocked the room where the system was. I hauled the new equipment in and installed it. New display because the old one was a CRT, new mouse, new keyboard, and the new Optiplex. I just finished hooking everything up and was about to press the power button when the club's financial officer stormed in. I later found out that was his position on the board of the club. He will be further referred to as Dick. Dick storms in and screams, "Who the F do you think you are?" The IT guy from Small Computer Company that CEO called to fix the broken door system? "How do you know how to fix the door card system? Have you done 36 hours of research on it like I have?" "No, Dick cut me off. "If you haven't done as much research as I have on this system and on Windows 95 and how to operate it, then you shouldn't be touching it. Who do you think you are to come mess with my system? You are some dumb butt mother effing Craigslist computer repair person the CEO hired on the cheap, aren't you?" "No, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. "I have 36 hours of research on this system. 36 hours and you cannot fix it like this. You don't know what you are doing. You must find a replacement part for the box that was sitting where you put that equipment. And who told you we'd be paying for all that new equipment? I never authorized that. You should not be messing with this system. You clearly don't know what you are doing. You are going to cost us thousands by attaching your equipment to our system. If you have broken my system, I will have the club sue you into oblivion. You are just some dumb, clueless, effing idiot off the streets who knows zero effing things about my system. You should never have been let in here. You don't know how to properly fix this." He cussed and belittled me up one side and down the other until a fly wouldn't pitch on me for about 10 minutes. The bar manager came in at one point to see what was going on and why there was screaming, and he had her in tears because she let me in here without his express permission. I had enough of his unending tirade. Dick was steadily belittling me. Hey, you shut the F up and let me talk." I know, not professional, but at that point in time, I didn't care. The system is fully installed, and right when you came in and started your little power trip was when I was going to press the power button and confirm it was working. So if you would be quiet for about 30 seconds and let me press this power button, pointing to the power button, you would see that me, the clueless dumb butt, was able to get you guys out of a jam and fix the problem. Dick looked pissed but stayed quiet long enough for me to get the system booted up. Once the system booted, it auto-logged in and opened VMware. I then pressed the green play button and the VM started and Windows 95 resumed from suspension. I asked the bar manager to log in and register a new door card. She registered a door card. I then walked out the main door with the new door card, let it close behind me, and used the new card to buzz myself in. I got through the door, then walked back in the room where bar manager and Dick were and exclaimed, "It works!" Dick immediately stormed out of the room. I thanked the bar manager, she thanked me, then I left and went back to the office and called CEO. I told CEO what happened. He told me to bring him the bill and he'd pay it immediately along with an extra tip for my troubles with Dick. So I brought him the bill and the backup drive, told him to put it in the club safe in case the door system breaks again. He handed me an envelope with a check for the invoice amount, and in the envelope behind the check was 5 crisp $100 bills. In the years since this happened, Dick was forced to resign as financial officer on the account of people not being able to stand to be around him or work with him. You know, there's a reason this person was in finance and wasn't an actual manager, that had to deal with people, because obviously they don't have the people skills necessary. Now, if I were in this case, I probably wouldn't have done what OP did. I probably would have just turned around, walked back out, and called the CEO to let them know what was going on. I shouldn't have to deal with a person like that in my job. This next story comes to us from ASCII Forever. Sorry, I can't inventory computers that we have not received yet. Let's jump right in. Not strictly a tech support story, but reading some of the recent posts got me thinking about this. My last job involved system and network administration plus user support. I also was in charge of our equipment inventory, a totally thankless job, plus purchasing and planning. Real jack-of-all-trades situation. The university I worked for had a central team for equipment accounting, which mostly meant they got to nag all the various departments to turn in required paperwork. When a department purchased a computer, as soon as the accounts payable folks got an invoice from a vendor, they would assume we had received the device, notified the equipment folks, who would print barcode labels and a form and send it off to the purchasing department. Department minion, me, would verify model and serial number, indicate building and room number, sign, and return the form. This was pretty straightforward 99% of the time. Then one day, I got a form and barcodes for 4 or 5 computers I had never heard of. The form had a PO number, so I was able to dig around in our accounting software and find out who had ordered these computers and what the status was, since I normally received all purchases and then delivered them to proper persons. When I checked with the professor who had ordered these, he told me they had not been delivered yet. Okay, no problem. We'll get them in a day or two. This was the downside to our accounting folks, assuming that invoiced was the same as received. I stuck the form and barcode labels on my corkboard and forgot about them. 30 days go by and I get a nastygram email telling me that if I don't return the form as required, the equipment people will send someone over to put the labels on, and we will be charged an hourly rate for this. So I check and find that we still have not received the computers. The vendor is having some issues. I called the equipment folks and explain that we don't have the computers yet. Conversation goes something like this: but accounting tells us the company sent an invoice. Maybe, we haven't received them, and we have not approved the invoice for payment. But you have to put the labels on and send the form back. There's nothing for me to put labels on. We don't have the computers yet. But if you don't send the form back, we have to send one of our people to do it and charge you. You're not listening to me. If you send someone over, they won't be able to put the labels on. There are no computers. We don't have them yet. I was really amazed that this was such a difficult idea for this person. I realized they were just doing what they had been told, but this couldn't have been the first time this had happened. Okay, I'll make a note that you have a 30-day extension, but after that, you have to return the completed form. I understand. I'm sure we'll have the equipment by then. Of course, we didn't get the computers in 30 days. I again got a nasty email, CC'd to a whole bunch of bigwigs, basically saying I was a troublemaker and they were going to send someone over to tag the computers. This time, I looked up whoever the manager was for these folks and called them. I explained the whole story, and they agreed to cool off the folks that were hounding me. I then emailed the manager thanking them, reviewing the situation, and CC'd all the bigwigs, just a cover your butt move. I also followed up with the professor that had ordered these freaking computers to find out what was going on. Turned out there was a long-term problem with the vendor. They might not be able to deliver the computers, ever. The PO was shortly cancelled, and I sent all the paperwork back to the manager of the equipment folks. The lesson I learned was that no matter how good a system is, there has to be a way to handle exceptions. Always. I think OP should have let them come over and try to put the labels on the computers that don't exist. It would be kind of fun to see what they do. Then afterwards, when they try to bill OP for that service, OP can send a message back to the higher-ups going, why are they billing me for something that never actually happened? But let's get right back to the beginning here. This accounting department does not run properly, because just because you have an invoice doesn't mean that you actually have product, ever. Check out all 5 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.